So I've been on this path of yoga for over 17 years now. And like many of us who are on this path or any spiritual journey, it can be a bit of a roller coaster. There's obviously times filled with great inner fulfillment, excitement, the taste of something more, the experience of feeling more full and free, refreshed and revitalized, clear, nourished, supported through our different practices and experiences through those practices. But there's also times where we fall from those peaks and it can get a little dark. And sometimes our faith comes into question. Our resolve gets questioned and put to the test. And part of my journey that has been the most reinforcing of that pillar of faith, devotion, sankalpa shakti, inner determination and resolve, have come from the trips, what I would refer to more accurately as pilgrimages, to the Himalayas over the last 10 years, and the experiences that they have filled me with. Those experiences have continued to carry me forward in my practice, in my life, and in all of the different experiences in a way that I'm not sure anything else quite has. And a big part of it is the depth and breadth of the practice that has been undertaken in these areas by many, many, many masters over thousands of years, but also the unique presence that these mountains hold and the shrines you find in these mountains hold. Not only is there a profound sense of being held, seen, and cared for by the mountains themselves, but there's a very unique doorway, a unique reality into an experience that resides in a lot of specific, unique locations in these mountains. Why do they reside there? Can be hard to say. Maybe by some unique nature's forces, or maybe because a certain master did a certain practice there for a long time and established that spot, planted a unique seed that still grows and glows there today. Or maybe it's something else, or some combination of the two. But what has been true for me is that these spaces are very much real. They exist. And with the right understanding, application of practice, reverence, we can connect deeply to a tangible sense of those spaces in a way that outer space that we're experiencing opens up an inner space within. And our experience of ourselves and our relationship to the inner and outer realms that we experience, it expands and also gets clearer. And beyond just that experience, there's a unique connection that unfolds, or at least has unfolded for me, with the saints, sages, and masters who have lived and spent time in these places. And a sense that they still very much exist in a subtle form and are constantly guiding us and supporting us and delighting in our journey that we're taking, smiling on us when we're feeling low, and feeling equally or more delighted when we're feeling high. Because these masters, just like us, were very real human beings who went through these same experiences. And so when we read texts or scriptures or learn from their experiences or share stories of their experiences while we're on pilgrimage, we relate to these masters who came to these places with the same thing that we have in our mind and heart, a desire to feel fuller, to feel freer, to feel clearer and return to our day-to-day lives with an opportunity to share more of the best of what we have to offer with our loved ones, with our work, towards our sense of purpose, for our lamps to be illumined a little bit brighter and to share that light. And what it does is we go back into our world and we do end up back in those, on those peaks, but back in the valleys. We remember how clear we were when we were on pilgrimage, how clear and resolved we were when we returned from pilgrimage, and how real that was to us, more real than these small voices of self-doubt, pity, condemnation. We know these are the small voices because we have felt the bigger voice from within. And we know that is the real truth that we're looking to unfold and connect to more and more. So this year we're going to a place called the Mandakini Valley. It's most well known for the famous shrine of Kedarnath, possibly the most highly regarded shrine in all of the Himalayas. And we'll be going there on this trip. There's also a number of other shrines, Tungnath, and shrines of certain sages, Anasuya and Atri, who were the mother and father of the great sage Dattatreya, the teacher of Parashurama. We'll also visit a cave associated with Guru Gorakhnath, the kind of grandfather of Hatha Yoga as we know it today, and many other places associated with other unique saints and sages. It's a really unique trip, given the context that we do go up above 10,000 feet. We spend a few nights over 10,000 feet. But as we go up, after even some days we go up and we come down, or after a couple of days, we come back down to a base camp that's in this beautiful garden right along the Mandakini Ganga. And it's at 4,000 feet. So we have opportunities to rest and nourish. As you go up, oxygen levels decrease. You come back down and they increase. You have a capacity to rest and digest more optimally. And so even if someone does feel unusually tired for some reason and doesn't want to go on a hike one day, they have a beautiful place to rest and support and engage in their practice right along the river, the Ganga, Mandakini Ganga that flows from Kedarnath. It'll be a challenging trip, like any trip in the Himalayas, both mentally and physically to different degrees. But it'll also be somewhat accessible and very rewarding. If you love nature, you're drawn to mountains, you're drawn to supportive, uplifting community, you want to deepen your connection to spirituality, yoga and meditation in particular, perhaps, this will be such a rewarding and transformative experience for you. And I would love to share that with you. These trips and places have touched my mind and heart so much over the last few years. There's nothing that brings me more joy than helping facilitate that opportunity for others and sharing my own journey of inner transformation with others' journeys of inner transformation, and doing it in a supportive atmosphere, in an extraordinary environment. So I hope you'll consider joining us this fall in the Himalayas, in the Mandakini Valley. And if not this trip, stay tuned, because every fall we go back to the Himalayas to continue deepening and sharing with one another. In fact, I'll share one story of a pilgrim who's been with us. This will be her 4th year in a row, just to give you a little bit of context of how meaningful it is to some of our participants. This participant joined us 3 years ago without knowing who we are, or not knowing much about who we are. She is a mother of 4 children, all in high school and younger, and she homeschools. She does not take vacations for herself. She's fully committed to her life at home. But a few years ago felt the strong need to do something where she could get away in the mountains and feel supported and rejuvenated. That experience over 3 years ago was so profound. She is now joining us for the 4th year in a row. She has about 2 to 3 weeks that's even a long time to ask to be away from the family. But she could do anything to rejuvenate her soul, her spirit, her body, to be able to go home and give all of herself back to her family with more renewed vitality, clarity, expanded love and devotion in all levels. This is what she chooses to do. And each year comments on how that experience grows and becomes even more profound and strong. We have several other participants who have recently been joining us for their 2nd or 3rd trip in a few years. Just a brief testimony to how powerful these opportunities can be. If any of that speaks to you, I hope you'll either join us this year or reach out. excursions@himalayaninstitute.org. Feel free to drop us a note, ask questions. We would love to hear from you and to share and connect with you on a deeper level. So thank you, and best wishes on your journey. Hope to see you soon.